Welcome to Micaiah Messenger, part of Micaiah Ministries, where we're digging deep into the Word till everyone's heard. Before I begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button and check to make sure you're still subscribed. Also like and hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications for our videos, both in the app and in your device. And if you can please help our channel, we're live every Sundays and Wednesdays, and we try to bring you as much as we can during the week. Hey, Dylan, what's happening? Good to see you. And guys, we need your help to keep the wind beneath our wings here at Micaiah Messenger. So if you can consider giving to help our ministry, we would be so blessed by that. You can give both through the apps seen on the screen and found in the description. Guys, exciting things are happening here. Dylan, good to see you, man. All right. And 400 rabbis warn Biden against deadly agenda to divide Israel. So this is prophetic, guys. You know, when the rabbis start speaking up, you know it's serious. You know, they were the ones. Hey, Christy, good to see you. You know, when the rabbis are speaking out, you know it's something you should take seriously. Rabbi Kaduri is an example, and there have been lots of rabbis throughout history who have actually prophesied about this time, talking about the two Benjamins and the government not being able to be formed, which is what we've seen, talking about the ships of Russia coming into the Dardanelles Straits, and that has been taking place. So there's been a lot of prophecies that are being fulfilled right now. And now you've got the 400 of rabbis speaking out against the deadly agenda to divide Israel. As the scripture quotes here, every spot on which your foot treads I will give to you as I promised Moshe. This is what God said to Joshua. Moshe is Moses. That's the actual Hebrew name for Moses. Hey, Freya, good to see you. And so now the rabbis are speaking out about this. As you might have noted from the other videos we shared, Biden literally put that in the signed agenda was to divide Israel. He kind of snuck it in there. You know, it seemed like they were just going to protect them if there was any altercations with Iran, etc. But he actually snuck that into the agenda. The signed agenda is, hey, Freya, good to see you. Awesome. I see you there. He snuck it in, saying basically that he's still committed to dividing Israel. That's basically what he said. And so he kind of snuck it in the signed agenda signed by both of them. And Lapid, as you know, I had mentioned, I think I had said that he was of Arab descent. I don't necessarily know that for a fact. I do know he's of Palestinian descent. His mother and his grandfather, I believe, were from Palestine. So there is a sense that he may have some sympathetic connections to dividing Israel for the Palestinians and for the Israelites. So it's something to consider there as well. Hey, Salah Richard, good to see you. Awesome. And a massive campaign that garnered the signatures of hundreds of rabbis under the Rabbinical Congress for Peace, Pekuach Nefesh umbrella group has turned to U.S. President Joe Biden, who is currently visiting Israel, with a warning. The last 30 years have proven that the Land for Peace formula is an exercise in futility, a formula for increased terrorism and a means of pushing peace further away, right? Because this was an agreement that was signed for peace and security, as we talked about in other videos. Any negotiations based on Israeli territorial concessions, especially for the creation of a Palestinian state, will only embolden our enemies to strike at us with further determination through terror attacks, boycotts, and international anti-Israel campaigns, the petition says. On Wednesday, Biden announced his intention to discuss his continued backing of a two-state proposal after landing in Israel for his first trip to the Middle East as president. However, the commander-in-chief acknowledged that he knows such a solution is not in the near terms. Yeah, well, that's what he said, but that's not what he signed. So, you know, again, once you sign something, you know, there's a commitment there, and he can use that as leverage to get Israel to do what they want, to divide the land. Frankie, good to see you. Dylan, what's happening? Good to see you guys. Awesome. So greater peace, greater stability, greater connection. It's critical, I might add, for all the people of the region, which is why we'll discuss my continued support, even though I know it's not in the near term. But what does near term even mean? A two-state solution that remains, in my view, the best way to ensure the future of equal measure of freedom, prosperity, and democracy for Israelis and Palestinians alike. Well, of course, he feels that way because he doesn't support Israel. He doesn't really understand Israel. He's not a believer in Israel, the land that God gave to the Israelites. The rabbis who signed the petition blessed Biden's intention to bring peace to the region and wished him well. Still, at the same time, they warned The only way the U.S. can serve as an effective mediator is by declaring outright that there will never be Israeli territorial concessions, nor will a Palestinian state ever be established alongside Israel. Well, it's a little late because he already signed it, right? The signatories added that every time Israel relinquished land for peace, the immediate response was an increase in terrorism and the killing of innocent civilians. Not to mention that God says, "You will not divide my land." They said that even any negotiations based on Israeli territorial concessions, especially for the creation of a Palestinian state, will only embolden our enemies to strike at us with further determination through terror attacks, boycotts, and international anti-Israel campaigns. So very, very serious, guys. Let's just take a look here at this Rabbinical Congress. This is where they announced this as well. It says, rabbis tell Biden it's time to recognize the land for peace policy as an exercise in futility and considered a new route. So let me blow this up a little bit here for you. So it's saying President Joe Biden's welcome to Israel, peace, not terror summary. And here's the 400 signatures. Wow, look at that. That is something to see. When you got 400 rabbis signing this agreement. Whoa, look at all that. Man, it's all, I don't know if you can read that at all on the screen. It's very small, but it says, for example, the first is Rabbi Moshe, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shlomo, Rabbi Itzhak, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yeshuda, Rabbi David, Rabbi Noam, Rabbi Azariah, Rabbi Joseph, and on it goes. So it's all rabbi, 400 rabbis. Wow, pretty intense. It says, we, the members of the Rabbinical Congress for Peace, which was founded in 1992 by over 400 prominent rabbis from Israel, extend to you our warmest greetings and best wishes for success in your noble efforts to bring a true and enduring peace to the region. This is peace, not terror, right? So this is a letter they wrote to Joe Biden. They're like, we're welcoming you as long as you're bringing peace, not terror. It says, however, and this is bold, however, the last 30 years have proven that the land for peace formula is an exercise in futility, a formula for increased terrorism and a means of pushing peace further away. Any negotiations based on Israeli territorial concessions, especially for the creation of a Palestinian state, will only embolden our enemies to strike at us with further determination through terror attacks, boycotts, etc. I think that's what I read to you on the other page. This was predicted hundreds of years ago by the sages of the Talmud and was eventually codified in Jewish law. To their mind, surrendering land to enemies will not lead to peace, but to increased bloodshed. Well, that's for sure. You know, God gave the land to the Israelites, and boy, there's been bloodshed ever since. Adrian, good to see you. Thanks for being here. If the U.S. truly wants to serve as an effective mediator between Israel and its neighbors, the starting point must be, guys, continue to pray for my voice. I'm still trying to get my voice back here. The starting point, I've been fighting a sickness. The starting point must be the understanding that Israel will not relinquish an inch of the land currently under its control and that a Palestinian state will never be established within Israeli borders. This is the only formula which will bring a true and lasting peace to the region. Every other formula has been tried and has failed miserably. In the words of former Defense Minister Ehud Barak, Barak, and we also know there's a Barak in the Bible as well, at a conference in Vienna 2011, we disengaged from Gaza and got 10,000 missiles in return. Exactly. It never works out well. You always notice that when America tells you to back down. Trust us, we're from the government, as they like to say. It never works out well. Summary of halakhic ruling. The following is a summary of a definitive halakhic Jewish law ruling based on the classic code of Jewish law and reissued in 1992, forbidding the surrender of any territory currently under Israeli rule. It was subsequently signed by over 380 prominent rabbis in Israel, including former justices of the Supreme Rabbinical Court in Israel. The meticulous observance of the Sabbath as a day of rest is one of the most cherished of all Jewish religious obligations. Nevertheless, the Code of Jewish Law prescribes, Orach Chaim, that if other nations approach a border town on the Sabbath, then even if their ostensible aim is merely to steal straw and stubble, we are commanded to take up arms and repel their attack, for otherwise the entire land will be easy for them to conquer, and lives will thereby be jeopardized. The above ruling applies more than fully to today's situation. Firstly, the towns and settlements now under discussion are not merely close to Israel's threatened borders, they themselves constitute the borders. Very similar to the claim that Russia is making with Ukraine. Oh, well, you're on our borders, NATO. Well, it's the same thing that Israel's saying. Secondly, Israel's neighbors are not coveting mere straw and stubble. They declare publicly that their goal is to dispossess Israel of entire cities, which is what Iran says every day, right? They want to destroy us, and they're coming over with Hezbollah into Syria to bomb Israel. in various parts of Israel, as well as strategic lifelines such as the Golan Heights. Thirdly, experience has proven over and over again that territorial concessions have not brought calm and stability to the region, but led to increased terrorism, bloodshed, and instability. Exactly, guys. It belongs to the Jews. Leave them alone. Let them have their land, right? It's been their territory since biblical times. Let it be. Let it rest. So there it is, guys. That's what's going on. The 400 rabbis are speaking out against the recently signed document. And just wanted to give you that update. I may be back